One of the most important things before getting on a sales call with a potential client is preparation. And this AI sales assistant helps you do just that. So over here, we can see a couple of things that this does is first, it helps you create a sales collateral, which gives you information on how to have that conversation with that potential client. And the other thing that it does is it helps you generate some answers, some ideas about how to answer sales objections that might come up. So we're going to go into more depth in the next section. We're going to look at how this actually works. Okay, so this is the flow for the objection handling. And right off the bat, we see that first thing we're going to be doing is getting the objection from the user. And then the next block is where we're going to be actually handling. And so what we've done here, we've actually broken down the objection that the user provided into 3 different types of questions. And this helps really get more kind of general overview of what the question is and be able to get some relative questions that comes with that. And that helps really then later in the next stage where we're going to actually query a particular data source to get some guidelines on how to actually answer this question. And what I've done here in the data sources is I provided a bunch of information about how to handle an objection. And this goes into so much detail. I can go into one of them. He goes into, like what is objection handling, what is important, some ways to handle it, and it goes on and on, different sources of information. But then we just got that over the internet. Here, we're actually feeding both the objection, but also the data that we gathered in the previous block into this block where we're going to be able to then generate a guideline in terms of how to actually handle this particular objection. So we're going to run this flow and take a look and see how that works. All right, so we're here in the main menu of the agent here, and we're going to click on sales objection. Here is where we type in the objection. Now, a common objection you might get is, it's too expensive, or it's the price is too high. So we're going to type in something like that. So they say, it's too expensive. Okay, and remember, we have a stage in the flow where it's going to then create 3 different types of questions based on this. So this is where we can be quite general with the type of objection that we might have. You can see it's going through and creating the data source, determining what's the best strategy to handle this particular objection. Here it is. Who covered real reason, contractual. So you can see it gives you a bunch of strategies and how to handle that. And as you can see, it's quite detailed in terms of what they should be asking. It's a great way to train a sales agent or even be able to get some ideas on how to handle a particular objection you might not be sure about. Next flow we're going to look at is the sales collateral generate. And that's one of my favorite because it just gives you a lot of information that you could use to help you, provide value proposition or even be able to understand what the user's needs are with respect to what your offering is. So the first thing we're going to do is get some information. So product info and customer info. We'll look at that. And this is something that you might upload. So for instance, if you already done some research on a customer and you've put together a list of information about the customer, this is where you would basically put that in. And then also product info is where you want to put in some information about your product. The next step, and we're going to look at, is here we're going to feed in the customer info and trying to determine what kind of pain points they might have based on this customer information. And then the next one is where we're going to then feed in the customer info, pain points, and the product, and we're going to basically generate this sales collateral. This will give us everything that we need in order to be able to generate the asset that we're looking for. And then in this next step, the generate asset, is what we've done is we're actually turned the whole thing into a PDF so we can view it online and we can share it and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at this flow in action. So the first thing to make sure you have is some information about the customer. So here I've created a hypothetical client with some company overview, That's their buyer persona, current situation, all that kind of stuff. It gives you an idea of sort of what kind of content you need to create in order to provide to this agent. And on the next page here is what we provided is sort of a product overview, core problems, key features, key differentiators, integrations, like everything that you can think about the product that might be relevant. All right, now let's go through this flow and see how this works. So I'm going to go to create sales collateral, and we're going to take those documents that we've created before. Or as you can see, I've uploaded the client information and also the product information. Let me click next. And it's going to go through and now basically look through that information over here. And here's where we're actually generating the content that we are looking for. And this is where we're then creating the PDF document. And there it is. You can see information about possible sales points that you could use, value proposition, what makes this product unique, why you should care. So these are great things to have a discussion with when you're having the call with a client.